What is up, gamers? It's your boy Kentman, and today we are going to be diving into the Visions of Mana demo, my first impressions of the game, and seeing and talking about everything that I played and my truest thoughts on the game so far. Now, I am happy that this demo finally came out. It gives us an idea of what the game is going to tell, from the different classes, the different elemental visual style, and just everything else that we need to know about loving this game. And honestly, I feel like this could have came out a lot sooner, as it could have gave us a better indication of the game, because the game comes out August 29th, so it doesn't really give us that much time for them to change things if they needed to. But regardless, better late than never, and I'm happy to have it. So let's dive into it and figure out what's about this game. Now, I won't be talking about the story at all because we don't really know that much about the story as of right now, besides the obvious things from going to the mana tree, taking Hina to the mana tree, and stuff like that. However, this demo only is a small section of the story, so it wouldn't be fair to really talk about the story too much, as we don't know that much about it. However, what I will say is that I love the characters' interactions with each other. They definitely give that good anime vibe when they talk to each other. You have your tsundere, you have your princely kind of character, you have Vale, who's the leader, who's high strong, who is down for his friends, to defend his friends, and then you have Hina, who is very cute and adorable and just wants to live life and experience the world as it comes to her, and she knows she has a duty to her land and people. However, she doesn't actually want to do it. There is like hints in there of her just saying that, well, I wonder if this wasn't the case and stuff. And you have Karina, who is probably my favorite character right now of playing the demo, who is a dragon girl who is a tsundere but just wants to live life as freely as she can as well. And you know, they are going through this little section of the map and it's a lot of fun. First of all, the visuals of this game are so stunning. They look stunning within the trailers, but when you're actually playing the game, now I played it on my PS5 and oh my goodness, it really excelled the game very well. Now, when it came to the winter biomes and then the gray grass area, I'm going to say biomes even though there's sections and different zones and whatnot, but I'm going to say biomes because I play a lot of Dreamlight Valley, so I call them biomes, okay? Just so you know. But there's different biomes. For the winter biome, you definitely felt the winter vibes there. It had that nice chill cool air, and then even when you went into the water, you could get damage from the water being so cold because it is a winter area. So you had to platform over the water by slowing down time using your elemental abilities, and that way you were able to jump across the waters. I like that this game is very innovative and very fun, and definitely trying new things from Trials of Mana to this game and actually utilizing things that they've done for other games into this game, and it felt really fun and innovative. And then the jumping was insane. You have a double jump right off the bat. I don't know if you have to unlock that as you go through the game or is it given to you right off the bat, but the first part you do have a double jump and an air dash, and you can air dash like crazy. I think you can get like 5 different air dashes within the air if you're jumping through the air, and like 3 if you're just going from the ground to an air dash. And there's a lot of utility when it comes to moving around, and the vast lands were stunning. All I can really say was stunning. There were so many beautiful moments where I just stopped and stared at the scenery because it was just that gorgeous to see. And when you would look out to the oceans and the beyond, and you just see this vast land that you don't really think you can go, but you have a lot of utility to go to these different places. Now, it's not an open world game, but it is an open world zone with a lot of different leg room to kind of freely move around and see what you have to offer. Now, in the winter zone, it was kind of linear and it was only like a straight and narrow path. But when you got into the grassy open area, there was a lot of different ways that you can go and see this world that they have built. Even jumping off a cliff one time. I want to see the water. Oh my God! I didn't think you were going to be able to jump off! You think you're going to be able to jump off? I really didn't think they was gonna let us jump off the cliff. I thought it was just gonna hit a barrier or wall, but nope. You could just go flying off. It was very hysterical to me. And honestly, it made the game even more fun to explore because they didn't give me any limitations on what I gave to do. The game definitely felt free to roam around on. And that's one of the most things I love in a good JRPG, that can make me feel adapted to their world that they're trying to present to me, and it just felt amazing. And of course, along with those world set pieces is the music. The music is so eloquently good in this game, how it fits every single section of the place, from the town that you're in. That town music was just really good, and it felt very chilling and very peaceful and smooth to be in there. And then when you were out in the fields, it had this nice adventurer and amazing hack and slash kind of feel to it. And the one thing I loved about the music the most is the fact that when you would go into battle, instead of switching to another song, it phased into the battle music from where the music was at. And it, even if you're in a certain part of the melody, the music transitions back into the normal music from the battle music, and it felt so good. The transition to music is so great. Even when you were switching from different sections, from the winter to the grass area, the music would slowly graze in to the next piece of music, so it never felt like it was janky or out of place or anything. So when it comes to the music and the presentation, it was very spot on. The only thing I would say that is not to the T great is the mouth animations. Sometimes the mouth animations when they're talking does feel a little stiff, like there could have been a little bit more time to work out the animations. However, once you get into the game and you start looking at it, you kind of adapt to it very fast for the art style that they have. And I think that's just how it is because of the art style that they use. However, it is a little jarring when you first start playing it. It makes it feel like they're not speaking correctly. However, it's just the fact that their mouths are moving a lot slower than the words that they're saying. Other than that one nitpick, the visuals of this game is fucking amazing. Amazing. Now, importantly, the combat. Let's get into the combat, which is the most important part of this entire experience. And I have to say, at first, it was a little rough. Now, you do have a little bit of a brief description on what the combat is going to be like. However, it is only so vague of what the combat is from the description. When you're in it, it can be a little overwhelming at first. When I first started playing, it was just like, they just threw you into the deep end. It was like, have fun, learn how to swim if you want to survive. And that's literally what you got to do. You have to figure out stuff on the fly if you want to survive. In some ways, I kind of like that because there's no hand holding, so they kind of make you figure out stuff on your own. So it makes you really adapt and try to find out how to play this game. But at the same time, there's so much going on between the elemental skills, from your partner skills, from the support skills, and then your basic attacks, and you're trying to chain all this stuff together. There's air combat, there's ground combat, and there's all these other things, and it was super overwhelming at first when I started playing the game. Combat. Go bap, bap. Okay. He has these giant claymore swords, which is very slow. Bap. Okay. Bap. 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 Dodge. Dodge that. Okay. Let's use these, oh, okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I feels like it wouldn't have been like that if you were playing the game from the start and you gracefully started to learn things as you went. The only drawback for this entire game is the camera. The camera is one of the biggest enemies and doo-doo butter I have ever seen in a modern game in a long time. And there's a countless of times where you're fighting an enemy or a boss or something and the camera will zoom all the way out like it's going to Mars or something, and you literally can't see what you're doing. And I'm like, what is happening? Or sometimes the camera will get caught on some tree or rock or behind something else where you can't understand where you're going and understand what you're fighting because the camera is moving all over the place. Oh, and it slowed him down. He got caught. Yeah, you played yourself, bitch. This time, I'm better at the game. Why did the screen go far out? What happened to the cameraman? Did he like get stuck on something? What is up with this camera? It was like it was trying to pull towards the enemy, but not to the enemy that I needed to do. Take this. The camera is gross. The camera is the worst part of the game. Also, I don't like that the camera doesn't rotate around you when you're fighting a particular enemy. So you're fighting something, and then if you switch your point of view to another enemy after that enemy is done and that enemy is behind you, the camera doesn't rotate around you to help you try to fight this enemy, because it could be off screen and you can't really see what's going on, especially with certain enemies that are super powerful who zip and zap around this map. It's hard to keep up with what's going on screen because of the camera. Now, there is a way to reset the camera to have it go to your back and show you from the front what you're looking at. However, it's one of those things that you have to kind of remember, almost like you're cooking. It's like you have something on the ground, and when you switch to another point of view, you have to reset the camera, which I feels like it should just do that automatically. And one of the settings that I feels like should have been off automatically is automatically switching targets to another enemy. I turned that off, but you can play with it on. And it helped me a lot better, because every time you would use the camera, which you think is R3, but it's not, you switch enemies instead of rotating the camera, and it's so odd. Like the camera, again, is the biggest drawback of this game. Now, I get that they wanted to do that because in case like you're jumping up and down, your characters are using all these different elemental abilities and powers and other things, so they wanted to give you enough breathing room just in case that stuff happens, the enemies pop up in the air and you're fighting them. That's the way you can understand where they are. But it is a little jarring that you can't control the camera in battle. The only way you can control it is by resetting. I feels like instead of R3 being the way you switch between enemies, I feels that should have been left for the camera like every other game, and the camera reset should have been like R2 or L1 when you're in battle. The other thing that I didn't really enjoy per se is the mount. Now, I love the mount that you get to run around in this field with this big dog, wolf, parkour thing. You run into enemies, they knock over the enemies, they take damage a little bit. However, the only thing I don't like is the fact that once you are in battle, you can't jump off your mount and start fighting right away. You have to literally press and hold square, which I didn't know that at first because I didn't have the side panels on, so they didn't tell you how to dismount the mount. There was one time where I got off the mount trying to fight people, and then the mount kind of glitched out the enemies where I couldn't fight them anymore, and it was a weird thing that happened, but it was only the one time that happened. I think the mount is just a slow down pace of the flow. I like that you can run into enemies if you wanted to and damage them. However, I feels like once the battle starts, you should be able to jump off your mount and just continue the flow of battle from that. But I feels like it's kind of a lack of, you know, you have to get on your mount, you gotta get off your mount, fight the enemies, and then get back on your mount if you want. So it almost kind of feels like it's not worth it to be on the mount. And I wanted to talk about it just so people know. The mounts are fun. It's cool to run around on them, but I feels like it's more funner to run on foot and enter battle because the transitions is a lot better. I just think the mounting is not as polished as it could be. I was struggling with the game a lot when it came to the combat for a while. However, especially with Vale, who at the beginning has a claymore and he has this slow swinging style to the game, and I didn't even notice when I was actually playing my playthrough of the game. I discovered this a little bit after when I was just playing the game and trying to figure out get footage for this first impressions review. At some random moment, because they probably did tell you this, but I didn't really read it, so I didn't understand it at the first time. But you're able to swap vessels from your characters, and when you do, it goes into this magical girl transformation and it changes their whole class and fighting style to something completely different. Thick as hell.
This is just the beginning.
Now we have a new class. And so Vale went from a sword and a claymore to having a lance and shield, and it was so cool. His whole fighting style changed because at first I wasn't really vibing with Vale in his gameplay style. Vale himself as a character I love, but his gameplay style with the claymore I wasn't enjoying because it was so slow and clunky that it didn't feel fun to play with. However, when I changed it from the sword and the shield and lance, that is when he became a lot more fun and user-friendly, I guess you could say is the right word, to play. He was so much fun to run around and fight stuff with. The whole moveset changed, and I love how this game allows you to kind of choose your fighting style how you want for a character. And Karina, who's the person that I favor the most, she shifts to a dual fan weapon where she has these whole new types of abilities, because at first she has a spear and she has some basic combos within the battle. However, when you switch to a new vessel, you get new abilities, and she had dual fans and it was so cool. She's doing air tricks and shooting off the fan. She uses her dragon more and she's using that to fight and to use all these other different elemental abilities. It was starting to become fun. Once you start getting it, it fucking works so well. It's so fun. The camera is still janky, don't get me wrong, the camera is still janky and I don't really like it. However, the combat is so fun that you kind of forget about the camera when you really start learning the abilities and actually get new abilities. I love that each person has their own upgrade stats, so you don't have to interfere with other people's stats. And I'm sure once you get more vessels, you'll be able to utilize what abilities you want to have, and then you'll be able to flip-flop those magical abilities on your hotbar and hotkey on what you want, because there's different ways that you can use it. Fireballs, you have your electric abilities, your wind, your wood, you have your strength upgrades and all this other stuff. So you have a lot of useful kits and tools to play the game how you want to play the game, and it's just really cool to have that. And like I said, once you really start understanding the combat and utilizing every character, it starts to become really, really fun. Everything about this game is amazing and beautiful, and I'm looking forward to seeing the full game and the story, and really diving into the environment and the atmosphere of this game when it does come out. When August comes out, I'll be buying the game at full price. I don't think I'm gonna buy the collector's edition though. I think I'm just gonna buy the game itself. But regardless of the fact, that is my first impressions of Visions of Mana. Did you play it? What do you guys think about the game? Are you looking forward to it? I definitely think this is a good step in the direction of the Mana series, and it makes me want to go back and play all the other games like Secret of Mana and the Dawn of Mana and all those games, because this game is a lot of fun and it's really cool. That is it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, let me know down in the comments down below what other JRPG demos or games that you'd like me to do this type of video for in the future, because I'll definitely do that. And if you guys did enjoy this, maybe you might enjoy all the other JRPGs that's going to be coming out in the later parts of the year in this video right here. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video next time. Bye me.